Hey guys, Putzelman 945 here. Welcome back to another video. Um, in today's video, I have a very fun ranking. Because um as of yesterday will be 2 weeks ago, I went to go see Metallica on their US tour in the capital of my state. Um, and it was absolutely awesome. Best concert I've ever been to. It was so freaking cool, even if parking was a nightmare. And so what I thought I'd do in this video is make a quick little ranking of every Metallica album because somewhat because of the concert, but also because it's been years since I listened to um all of their catalog, and also there were like three albums that I straight up had never listened to before. So, um, yeah, I over the past like week or so after the concert, I finished listening to all of their music, and I have the final ranking of albums here. And I'm also going to make a separate video of my top 10 Metallica songs, because they are my favorite band and my second favorite artist of all time, behind Ray Lynch. Um, I've been listening to Metallica since I was in sixth grade. Um, I could never forget it. My mom for my 12th birthday checked me out of school early. Um, and and the first two songs I listened to, which are a little bit spoiler for the list, but I mean it's probably not that uncommon of an opinion. Um, my favorite two songs are Master of Puppets and Enter Sandman, and those were the first two that I listened to. So I've been listening to Metallica for quite a long time. Um, and yeah, this concert really kind of reignited my love for them in a bigger way than I ever thought that I could really enjoy their music. And so, yeah, rambling aside, because that was almost 3 minutes of rambling, here is the actual list. Now, I will preface this by saying that I don't think that Metallica has a single bad album. In fact, of all of their songs, there was only one that I disliked, and even then, I didn't like outright despise it. I just didn't like it very much. Um, and that was just one song. So that being said, the quality of Saint Anger being the lowest ranked album on this list is just kind of mediocre. It's not a bad album, like I just said. I don't think that Metallica has a single bad album. But the thing that kind of makes Saint Anger, I feel like, because there are good songs on here, such as the titular name of the album, Saint Anger, like the song and the album they share a name, of course, a very common thing in Metallica albums. Um, that's a good song. Shoot Me Again, that was also a good song. I forget the exact name of it. No More Monsters, I believe, was another one. Or No More Like a Monster, something like that. That was also a good song. So there were good songs on the album, but just for me, something about the content of Saint Anger's songs was there was something about it that was like less memorable, I guess. And as a result, a lot of the songs I feel like just are not going to stick in my head as much as other albums. Now, Saint Anger, in my opinion, is really the only album that I would call mediocre. Because at the 10th spot is Death Magnetic, and even though it's the second lowest one on this list, I still think it's a pretty solid album. I think that it does suffer a little bit from the same thing as Saint Anger, where there are some where there are several songs that feel like they're good, but they don't do enough to kind of stick in my head. But there are several that do. Um, uh, I'm terrible with names, and so I need to just look at it on my phone here and just check. Um, so, like, for example, Cyanide, the Judas Kiss, um, The Day That Never Comes, That Was Just Your Life. All those were very, very good songs. Um, but then there were some other ones that just weren't as memorable, but it was still a good album. And number nine, and we're entering at this point into the very good range as far as I'm concerned, because at number nine is Kill 'Em All, Metallica's very first album from 1983. And the reason that I don't have this as high as the others is because, it's very rare that any band's very first album is going to be the absolute peak of what they do, even if um even if this album as a first album is still very good. But I think that Metallica has done better things after this album. But there are still some really good songs on here, such as Hit the Lights, Metal Militia, Seek and Destroy, and the Four Horsemen as well are all fantastic songs on this album. In particular, either Seek and Destroy or Metal Militia probably being my favorites from this album. Um, and the reason why this is not ranked as highly is purely because James Hetfield had just not I think that he was still kind of polishing up his singing voice, and so some of the songs do feel like they have a little bit more of a rougher edge than I personally like to listen to, but still overall great singing voice. Um, at number eight is Reload. And another just very good album. And and I think the reason why I have, even though like Metallica, like would say they consider both of these albums as one big one because it was one giant recording session split into two albums. The reason why I do not have this ranked as highly as Load is because, um, while there are a ton of fantastic songs on here, such as Fixer, Slither, uh, The Memory Remains, Fuel, Carpe Diem, Baby, Where the Wild Things Are, all fantastic songs. Um, I feel like Load, when comparing the two albums, has, to me, a bigger roster of better songs. Um, Now number seven is Metallica's most recent album, which is what the tour was to promote, and that is 72 Seasons. Um, Now in comparison to their more recent albums, such as Death Magnetic and Saint Anger, even though those are already pretty old by this point, um, what I think that this album does better is that it has more of those memorable songs to me, such as like I think Lux Eterna is probably my favorite one on this album, but like there's other fantastic ones such as You Must Burn, Sound of Barbed Wire, If Darkness Had a Sun, Room of Mirrors, Inamorata, and then the titular song name 72 Seasons as well are all very, very good songs, with Lux Eterna probably being my favorite on the album. Um and and yeah, it was just a very, very good album that I feel like kind of fixes the minor issues that that make Saint Anger and Death Magnetic not as memorable to me. At number six is Load, and for a reason that I explained before, it's just because I think that it has a more memorable selection of songs in comparison to Reload because King Nothing is one of the best ones, but there's also like Mama Said, which I think would maybe be in my top 10. I don't know, I haven't made that list yet because that was such a fantastic song. There was also really, really good ones like Bleeding Me, 2 by 4 The House That Jack Built, Until It Sleeps, Hero of the Day, Your Poor Twisted Me. All of these were just fantastic songs. As well as the Outlaw Corn and Ronnie. There were so many absolutely fantastic songs on here, and I feel like this album in particular, with songs like Mama Said and King Nothing especially, where you can really see that um obviously, James Hetfield had a godlike singing voice by this point, but I feel like in this album in particular, I think that you really get the sense for how much he has evolved into becoming a fucking spectacular singer with the kind of insane depth that his and range that his voice seems to have. Um, Number five is Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Now, despite the fact that this album has the only Metallica song that I don't really like that much, which is Hardwired, um, I think that this album makes more than makes up for it with every single other song on here just being an absolute banger. Like Atlas Rise and Halo on Fire are among my favorite Metallica songs, but then there is Now That We're Dead, Dream No More, Moth into Flame, Man Unkind, Am I Savage, Spit Out the Bone. I'm not listing every song on here, but like all of those are absolutely incredible songs. Every single song on here, minus Hardwired, is a absolutely incredible song. Um and this was their most recent album because it came out back in 2016. This was their most recent album. Um when I was really in the prime of listening to them. And so as a result, I very much enjoyed a lot of the songs on this album. Now, uh, at number four, we have Ride the Lightning. And even though this is only Metallica's second album, right, like immediately from the very first song, Fight Fire with Fire, I think that there is an immediate, you can immediately tell how much James Hetfield has already vastly improved his voice from the even slight rough edges that I think Kill 'Em All has. And and of course, there are so, so many incredible songs on here. Even though it is only 8 songs, basically all of them are probably instant Metallica classics. That if you talk to a true Metallica fan, they would probably know and like every one of these songs. Um, for Whom the Bell Tolls being easily the best song on this album and the most famous one from this album for a goddamn reason. Um, and that will definitely be making my top 10 list as well. Um, but that is not to throw under the bus other fantastic songs such as Creeping Death, Trapped Under Ice, Ride the Lightning itself, and The Call of Cthulhu, which is just an incredible instrumental track. Um, and at number three, Metallica's fourth album, and where I think that they really kind of started leaning into their strength of theming albums around is And Justice for All. Because this takes everything good about Ride the Lightning and it has one more song. It's nine compared to just eight. But I feel like, there is a very distinct theming of the lyrics, and this is not the first album they did this with, as we'll get to for the rest of this list. Um, but um, there are just like just every single song on this album is brilliant. Like there is Blackened and Justice for All, Eye of the Beholder, one being one of their most famous songs, pun not intended. Harvester of Sorrow, To Live Is to Die is an incredible instrumental track, possibly the best one they've done. Um, and it's every single song. I, I'm running out of ways to describe how good these songs are at a certain point, but like they're all peak. And then, of course, and number two is Master of Puppets. This is where I feel like they kind of started the theming of the album, but I feel like the exact nature and science of this that we kind of nailed down a lot more with Injustice for All. But every single song on this album is absolutely incredible. Battery, The Thing That Should Not Be, Welcome Home, Disposable Heroes, Leper Messiah, all banger songs. Orion in contention with To Live Is to Die, in my opinion, for the best purely instrumental track that Metallica has ever done. And then, of course, there is Master of Puppets itself, which is one of their most iconic songs and one of my personal favorite songs of all time. And, it was really hard for me to choose between this and the number one spot, but in my opinion, the Black Album just had to be number one because, this is their self-titled album. There is a goddamn reason why it is their most famous and highest selling album to date. Um, and it's just because every single song on it is peak. I'm just I want to see where is it in terms of the highest selling albums of all time. Let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. It is the 19th most sold album of all time. At least that's according to Wikipedia. And, some people may not trust Wikipedia as a reliable source. But I think the fact that it is within the top 20 highest selling albums of all time would really tell you all you need to know about the quality of the Black Album and why Metallica is um, one of the most, if not the most famous metal band that has ever existed. Um, and yeah, that is going to do it for my Metallica glazing sesh. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you disagree with my list and leave your own in the comments down below. If you are also a fan of Metallica, tell me what your favorite song is. We'll have a discussion about it. But yeah, that's going to do it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.